It seems at this point that Dana White will never give up on promoting Power Slap no matter the opportunity. Today I wanted to react to this video that I have been seeing get a ton of views. It's been in my react soon folder because I've been seeing the views of it and the likes go up and up and up. I've been seeing it more on my homepage. I have not watched this video yet, but it's obviously a very good video. And today I wanted to save my authentic reaction for watching it for the first time. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with too many YouTube channels. Guys, I'm going to leave links to Mark fighting in the pinned comment and description down below. Please go show him some love. I'm excited to watch this video. Let's get into it.
Dana White has stooped to new lows to promote Power Slap.
I like my food.
This one.
He's resorted to using OnlyFans models.
This little badass is giving away a 200.
It's so cringe, man. Yeah, there we go. Jellybean, this little badass.
$100,000 car.
But whenever he speaks about Power Slap, he claims it's literally the most popular sport in the world.
And not only that, he talks about it being like the most popular sport if you were to combine every sport ever.
Take every sport on earth.
Okay, I swear to God, guys, I swear to God, I have not seen this video yet.
Combine all their numbers together and multiply it by 4. Power Slap beats it.
He even thinks that one day it'll be bigger than the UFC. Yet it's been dropped by its TV broadcaster, accused of faking views, and it's always surrounded in controversy.
Yeah, and it's very important to note as we continue on, guys, because obviously this video is criticizing Dana White and perhaps his marketing tactics, but I am a fan of Dana White's. I've been a fan of Dana White since I've started watching the sport. Dana White is an inspiration in some way to me. I really enjoy Dana White, but the problem is this Power Slap stuff is not it. I just don't want this to come off as like haterish from my opinion.
They're trading brain cells for cash.
It's clear that Dana is lying about Power Slap's success, because if he wasn't, he wouldn't need to do bizarre marketing stunts like this.
Yep.
So just how did Power Slap get to this point? And why is Dana White getting so desperate?
Yeah, I don't know why he's lying so bad about it too. Like, it's one thing to say like, oh, we've had this and it's bigger than the NFL in this aspect, but to say like, you take basketball, you take hockey, you take soccer, you take everything under the sun, and Power Slap just absolutely crushes it. I'm like, okay, there's a lot of stupid people and a lot of NPCs in this world, but I don't know about this one, man. I don't know, like, I don't know if anybody can buy that one.
Originally, Dana White claimed to have spotted underground slap fighting contests online with millions of views.
I started to do some research on some of the companies and some of the promoters that were involved in it. And
that's my first time hearing that. I did not know that that was a thing. Wow, underground slap fighting.
you know, I was first of all, I was blown away by the numbers. I mean, some of these have like 300 million views. So I started thinking, you know, obviously this thing really works for social media, but I thought it would be good for television too if done the right way.
And it was his belief that with a rule set, the proper finances, and the power of the UFC marketing team behind it,
They're doing too much, though. That's the problem. They're doing way too much in integrating it with the UFC marketing. Everybody's just annoyed by it, and I highly doubt the numbers that are going over to Power Slap are anything to write home about.
they could turn it into a global phenomenon. So much like he did with the UFC, Dana White created a reality show that very much looked and felt like the ultimate fighter.
Out of all the competitions that we've held over the last however many years, this is probably the nicest house we've ever had.
I thought he was about to say this is the best one. This is the most watched thing we've ever done. I didn't keep up with this, of course. I'm personally not interested in Power Slap, as I'm sure most of us watching this video are, but I thought that's what he was about to say.
But ironically, the show was temporarily postponed after Dana White landed himself in a lot of personal trouble for slapping his wife.
Wait, did it ever come out then? Maybe that's why I didn't keep up on it. Maybe that's why I said I didn't keep up on it, but I assumed that it would be out.
It was obviously a horrible personal experience, and you know, there's no excuses for it. Something that I'm gonna have to deal with.
Dude, that was such bad timing for that to happen too. Like, oh my God, you make Power Slap, you market it within the UFC as much as possible, and then a clip goes viral of you slapping your wife. That's crazy.
And live with for the rest of my life.
Regardless, Power Slap had a deal with American cable network TBS. Although when the show did end up airing, and the world was exposed to Power Slap for the first time, they were shocked at what they were witnessing.
I don't mind saying this has to be the most stupid sport in the world.
Yeah, it's not a sport, guys. I'm sorry. it's not a sport. And I also think that there's a lot of things that shouldn't be considered a sport, but this isn't one of them. This is slapping.
It was just two athletes, if you could call them that, standing face to face and slapping each other until one of them couldn't take it anymore. Sure, there were a few rules, some judges, and a bizarre scoring system, but at the end of the day, it was just pure violence.
And I don't know the scoring system to it either.
I just saw it with these two gals. They look perfectly nice. They look like they had no beef with each other. And they're up there slapping. Why would you ever let an opponent hit you? How do you ever not bring a hand up? How do you not
Oh
do the
yeah,
pull?
I watched that jail video. If anybody has had any sort of martial arts experience, I don't really know like how you can really sit there and take someone's shot full force. Like if you want to show that you know what, there's a lot of people that want to. I completely just debunked myself. There's a lot of people who just want to show how tough they are, and yeah, they would stand there. But I don't understand how it's not instinct to go and like not be able to that's what I have to do when someone's going at me.
How do you not slip underneath? Where's the honor in that? It makes no kind of sense. And I'm okay with weird activities. People jump out of airplanes. People ride bulls and act like they achieve something.
Base chill as usual.
People do weird stuff all the time. I'm not against that. I'm against them using the name of our sport, fighting. You gotta call it something else.
Yep.
Immediately, the MMA purists hated it, but there was a contingent out there who enjoyed the spectacle.
Was there anybody who like really enjoyed it? I don't think so. Like I have yet to come across a power slap fan in any comment section ever on anything, but maybe it's also because I'm not part of the power slap. Like I don't know, like the power slap community. I'm not too sure what to think, man.
People competing on slap for who they are. You know, they've all got backstories. Some of them are more interesting than others. Some of them have made some mistakes in their lives and they're trying to get their lives on track.
Reportedly, the show is pulling in around 250,000 viewers a week. And while that may seem like a lot, those numbers are actually quite underwhelming.
Yeah, they are, and I'm shocked that it's that. Like, is there a way for us to know if they're botted? Like, I'm being completely honest.
So at the end of their first season, Power Slap was dropped by TBS. It was partly due to the low ratings, although a big reason they lost their TV deal was the ever-growing controversy that surrounded this so-called sport. And on the topic of losses, our friends over at Late Night Fights do incredible deep dives into all the losses of MMA's most successful, controversial, and popular stars.
That's cool. I gotta check that channel out. I gotta check that out.
They've only been on YouTube for a couple of months, but already have a great library of
Poor Rockhold up there, though.
videos to binge. So if you're interested in those times where the best UFC fighters struggled, head to Late Night Fights on YouTube, link in the description.
And I support that as well. Go check out any channel related to this because I am really enjoying the video that I'm watching so far. I haven't come across this channel personally.
With Power Slap, the most glaring issue people have is the head trauma.
What are we doing here?
I know.
It's free brain damage. Like, why? You could hit someone so hard with a slap.
I know you can, but the problem is, like, I never really understood the brain damage argument because you're getting brain damage from boxing, UFC, football. You're getting damage from it all. It's just another form of brain damage, and it's more brain damage. I don't understand that particular part being the outrage. I'm more on the side of what Chael said.
Because you're not, everybody thinks of a slap as like the palm in the face. That is not what's happening. You're getting palm striked in the face.
Yeah.
Full blast.
It's terrible.
From a full swing.
In a time where we've only recently learned the extent of how terrible repeated blows to the head are, Power Slap is literally that. Striking each other in the face with zero defense whatsoever.
What may not surprise you is that actually a lot of the medical boards that are involved in combat sports are upset. They did not think that the Nevada State Athletic Commission should approve this. Some of the
yeah, given how long it actually took for the UFC to end up getting sanctioned, like, I'm shocked that this is something that was actually, like, approved.
The biggest names in combat sports fighting in terms of fighter health, trying to promote awareness about brain injuries, were very, very strongly against this getting approved because, again, in their mind, like I'm saying here,
and apologies, guys, by the way, if this scene keeps coming up, I'll switch my OBS scene so I'm not covering this person's face.
this is just trading concussive blow for concussive blow.
One of the biggest things researchers have learned about concussions is that it's often the blows you take after a concussion that are most dangerous. And Power Slap has a lot of those.
Yeah, you think? You think? Like, you have multiple rounds. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if somebody gets knocked down, are they able to get up? I haven't actually watched Power Slap. I've only watched the highlights, and whatever happens to come up on TikTok, because for some reason the UFC's posting it
down and suffers a concussion, what's to keep them from getting right back up and maybe having a second impact that could cause a concussion and second impact syndrome, which can be life-threatening.
And because of all the uproar, Power Slap can legally only take place in a handful of locations up until now.
Up until now, I was about to say, I didn't know that. I thought it. Weird.
They've only ever held events in the notoriously liberal Nevada and the Middle East. But the former head of the Nevada State Athletic Commission that sanctioned Power Slap now actually regrets his decision.
Wow. Yeah, I guess you wouldn't be able to exactly take that back, eh? But yet, I don't get, like, why would you... If this idea is presented to you, you sit back and think, wow, that sounds like a great idea. And I'm not coming from somebody who just, like, hates on Dana White. Dana White has done a fantastic job, and this is why I've always been sitting back and kind of like, oh, you know what? What if it does end up working? Because people said the same thing about MMA when it was first coming out, how barbaric it was, how it would never succeed. And like Dana White proved everybody wrong. I know it wasn't just Dana White, but you get my point. Now Dana White's sitting here and saying, hey, this has potential. He's somebody to listen to, but I can't see it. It's two people slapping each other. I can see it for social media highlights, but for an actual organization like the UFC, I can't.
A former US congressman even wrote to Warner Bros., the parent company of TBS, pleading with them to remove Power Slap from cable television. Yet Dana White just believes Power Slap is in the same position that the UFC was 20 years ago when Senator John McCain called it human cockfighting.
Yeah, I'll let Dana say this.
These are all the same questions people ask me about UFC in the old days. Oh my God, this is garbage. You jump on top of another guy, you can do this, you can do that.
And that's true, though. That's true. And that's why I actually sit back sometimes and I'm like, what if Dana's right? What if he sees something that none of us do? Because at the end of the day, he's a fantastic businessman.
It's human cockfighting. Now this, because as soon as money gets involved,
right,
and you can actually start to make a living doing this,
right,
people start taking it serious, and people start. So when athletes come in to slap, we put them through the Performance Institute, and they go through the same type of training. We
Huh? What training do they need to go through? They're slapping each other.
Measure them for force, velocity, speed, and people are actually starting to train and take this thing serious because there's real money involved now.
Okay, to be honest with you, that makes sense, but come on, man, come on.
Power Slap is worlds apart from MMA, however. It's actually anti-martial arts. Instead of mastering numerous techniques and combat styles that originated from all around the world, Power Slap is simply swinging for the breachers and hoping you switch your opponent's brain off.
Yeah, and it just comes down to exactly how tough you are. There's like no skill to it. I mean, like if there is skill, there's very little, and there's absolutely a ceiling to it.
And isn't there a huge advantage for whoever wins the coin toss and goes first? You essentially just have one free shot at victory while you're 100% fresh and haven't taken any damage yourself. Even some UFC fighters, the people who have their checks written by Dana White, are publicly criticizing Power Slap.
And that's actually really nice to see too, that the UFC fighters aren't just saying something for the sake of being part of the company. Now, I'm not for just trashing the company that you work for. Like somebody like Sean O'Malley, he's very, very grateful for what the UFC is given to him, but I really appreciate that he also is real and speaks his mind.
Slap.
A free shot with Chinsky's. Yeah. I don't know. I cannot watch it. And I don't know if it's I can't watch it because I understand what concussions are. I understand. I've been through them. I know how bad it is to do that to your brain.
And while there are
Now, I actually like what Sean had to say there, too. While I haven't experienced concussions myself, I have been around people, I've been in the martial arts scene for a very long time, who have suffered concussions, and it's a serious, serious thing. You don't do that to people. You have respect for your training partners. You have respect for your opponents. It's a very, very dangerous game that we're playing, and this is just, like, escalated danger. And I hate to say that it's unnecessary because people can do what they want, but what else am I supposed to look at this and think?
Fighters who support Power Slap, there's a strong chance they feel pressured to do so. But regular fans are free to say whatever they want, and more often than not, if you head into the comment section of any Power Slap video, particularly the early ones, the responses were overwhelmingly negative. Yet despite all this hate Dana White and Power Slap has been receiving, he's continued on with new seasons of the reality show elsewhere.
I didn't even know about the reality show. Like, I knew about, like, the first thing that we talked about, but has there been seasons? I thought it was just Power Slap events and, like, rankings like the UFC and stuff.
And whenever he speaks about it, he makes Power Slap sound like the world's most popular sport.
It's bigger than the PGA, NASCAR. We're crushing it. We're about to pass Major League Baseball.
Yeah, like, how can you say that? How can you say that? There's no way that's true. Like, this is where I'm so conflicted because I respect Dana White and I respect his opinion on any business that he wants to start because obviously he's fantastic at it. But I don't get it, and I find it a little bit insulting to all of our intelligence that he's lying the way that he is, right? And I know, like, you can call Dana White a liar. I know I'm going to hear it in the comment sections, but I think people overblow the hate, but he's absolutely lying about all of this.
As far as numbers go, right?
Wow.
Then, now, when you talk about numbers on views on this thing, take every sport on earth, combine all their numbers together, and multiply it by 4. Power Slap beats it.
What are we supposed to say, man? Like, look at the sincerity on his face when he's telling that, dude. It's crazy.
So just how can it have such an audience if everyone supposedly hates it? Well, one explanation is that Dana is misleading us with his stats because not all views are created equally.
Yes.
For example, one view on a 5-second power slap knockout clip on TikTok isn't the same as someone watching a 30-minute NFL breakdown on YouTube.
Absolutely. And like, if there is like, perhaps Dana's talking about one TikTok that got millions upon millions upon millions of views, and now you can claim the numbers are better than every other organization. But no matter what the workaround is, that's got to be in bad faith.
And that's where the vast
and that's assuming that it's true that they have something like that.
majority of these hundreds of millions of views are coming from Insta Reels, Twitter, and TikTok. People aren't actually watching the power slap events, they're just watching a clip on their TikTok feed.
Yep, that's exactly where I'm finding mine. And it's oftentimes within UFC too. That's exactly the only time that I've ever seen anything about power slap. I've never gone out of my way to look something up. It's never shown up on my YouTube page. It's only TikTok and short form content that I've consumed where I found it. And to be honest with you, sometimes I watch it.
It's a handful of seconds long.
Oh, well, Twitter counts a view as someone scrolling over it for a second. I was like, that's not a view. Tell me how many people like actually watched. Tell
Is that true though? Is that true? It'll count as a view no matter what if it just shows up in your algorithm? Because I know for YouTube, a view is over 30 seconds. It actually won't count if you click off a video before 30 seconds.
How many people watch for 2 minutes, for 3 minutes, for 4 minutes, for 5 minutes?
The UFC brand has exceptional marketing, so combining that with clips of people getting slapped and knocked out cold is guaranteed to print views. But Dana is using that to tell us more people are interested in power slap than the NFL, NBA, soccer, and
And like, again, watch his face. He's so sincere.
every other sport in the world combined. It's just quite clearly a lie.
Better than the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball, F1, WWE, and I'm sure because he says what else, like there's soccer, throw them all in, to imply that Slap's social numbers are bigger than all of them combined, Frankie.
Times 4.
Combined. He didn't just say we're bigger than this entity and that entity. He's putting them all in one bucket.
And you know, Ariel is so happy that he's getting a dog on Dana right now. He's salivating.
And so my question is, does he actually believe this nonsense, or is this just brilliant promotion? Because here we are talking about it.
I should have thought to say that because that's something that I do believe. Like, that could very well be the motive. Very well said by Ariel.
Because if it wasn't, their deal with TBS would have been renewed. We'd know the names of all the champions, and they'd have so much cash they'd be able to pay the competitors more than the tiny amount they currently receive.
It's CTE for money. Like, they're trading brain cells for cash.
But again, that's the only argument that I don't understand is because it's the same thing in boxing.
And they're only offering you a couple of $1,000s to do it anyway. It's not like it's going to change your life.
And it's free will. People can go and do what they want. I just don't understand the appeal.
I mean, it changed your life for the negative, of course.
Dana claims the top earners in Power Slap can make around $45,000 in an evening, but even if that's true, it's not the case for everyone. Eric Spicely, a former TUF contestant who had 7 fights in the UFC, was offered to compete on Power Slap, and according to him, he was offered $2,000 to show and $2,000 to win. Power Slap clearly doesn't have the means to give their fighters competitive pay.
I keep seeing this chick, by the way. I'm not familiar if she's somebody that works for Power Slap because I keep seeing like her walk on people, Dana White talking to her. There we go. Maybe get a better view on her, but I don't know. If anybody could clear that up, I would appreciate it in the comments.
If they're pulling hundreds of millions of views, yet paying the people involved just $2,000 to risk their livelihoods, something isn't right. Fans are claiming it's the lack of true viewership being the reason why Dana White has gotten so desperate in his marketing tactics, because he's recently stooped to an all-time low.
That's why I'm giving away this McLaren 600 LT at Power Slap for free.
Now, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing about that one. That one's a little bit smarter because all this girl has to do is go on OF and say, hey, I'm going to be at Power Slap and I hope you are too. And then you know all of our SIMPS are going to be running over to Power Slap and becoming the most dedicated fans. Yo, Jellybean, did you see this person slap? Like, that was so awesome. And meanwhile, they're actually thinking that they're messaging her, but it's just some dude that she hired. And they're going to be like, yeah, that was awesome. It's totally me, Jellybean. That one's smart.
Check out the links in our bios on how to enter.
But I also do think it's so cringe, man. It is a new low.
In a series of videos on both his social media and hers, Dana White teamed up with an OnlyFans star to market both Power Slap and her videos through giving away a McLaren.
She paid $200,000 for this car at Vegas Auto Gallery, and she's giving it to you for free. The way you enter is go to powerslap.com/giveaway. And you can watch Power Slap live and free on Rumble this Friday night, and there will be a code that will pop up. It'll give you 10 extra entries.
The entire MMA world was instantly calling out Dana.
That was the worst one. I like my suitcase. I like my He's holding in the cringe. Bro lost Dora points. I love comments, man. I love comment sections.
Claiming he must be desperate for Power Slap to succeed if he's willing to do this.
Yeah, that's gotta be it. It has to be.
If you're trying to build a legitimate sport, want to rival the likes of basketball and football?
What are you talking about, rival? If you combine both basketball and football together, multiply that by 8, those are the Power Slap numbers. What do you mean, compete?
Collaborating with sex workers seems to undermine that aim. There's claims that Dana has spoken so highly of Power Slaps and its success in recent times that his ego can't accept the fact it might not be as big as he believes.
That's also a possibility as well. I don't know, though. I don't know. I'd love to know what you guys think about this in the comments, by the way.
Because the UFC shoving Power Slap in our faces. It doesn't matter whether it's Dana's Twitter, the homepage of UFC Fight Pass, or even the official UFC social media pages. MMA fans are being forced to hear about Power Slap.
The problem is they combined it and started promoting it on the UFC channel. Yeah. And then that's when you piss me off. I'm like, no, don't confuse the public here. Separate.
Agreed. And you're only going to make people resent it and hate it even more. That's perfectly well said. I don't want to see it because I want to see UFC content when I follow something about the UFC. You can promote Power Slap in the sense where it's like, hey, we also have all these other social medias. You can mention it here and there. That's totally fine. But what they're doing is actively making people resent it and hate it.
Well, they got Bisping doing commentary for it.
I feel like I would do I would do it. Like when I found out Bisping's doing it, I'm like, yeah, get your money, dog.
Yeah. But it still isn't this global super sport Dana wants it to be. And while Dana White is the type of person to prove everyone wrong, I don't think this OnlyFans collaboration is going to help move the needle.
Yeah, and I like what he said at the end over here is because Dana White is the type of person to prove everybody wrong, and who knows, down the road, he might just be right again. That was a fantastic video, guys. Go show Mark some love in the pinned comment description down below. But in the meantime, if you already do follow that channel, guys, I want you to check out this video on screen right now where we take a look at actual comments from the initial post on the day or the day after that it was posted because everybody was going crazy about it. In this Explore recap, guys, I would love to hear from you over there. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.